What's up, YouTube? I'm trying to make this video as quick as possible because I don't want to make it too long. So we're trying to keep it within 15 minutes if I can. Hopefully not too long, no more than 20. So I want to talk about my experience on Grindr and what I think of it, and it's kind of going to also dive into my sexuality. Well, a little bit of my sexuality, but also more of my sex drive. So, without further ado, let's just get to it. So, for the past couple of months, starting of 2024, I been experimenting as far as like social wise, and Grindr, I stumbled upon because I don't want to say I've been looking for trans women or femboys or anything like that. I was more looking for someone that's similar to me as far as interests and everything, and kind of maybe a hookup, and if the sex part leads, that's great too. But mostly I was on there for not necessarily the same reasons that probably everyone else was on there for. And I know that that's probably counterproductive of the purpose of getting on Grindr. So anyway, I met two people, and actually I've interacted with more. I've interacted with a lot of people, but I've only met two people, right? And those two people that I met on Grindr, the first person I met, we're just gonna call them C for short. I'm still in contact with that person to this day. We had a great bond. We didn't do anything, sexual or anything like that. We, we're both going through similar things. We're both trying to transition, hopefully this year for me and hopefully for them too. So right off the bat, we kind of like just immediately hit it off and had so much in common. That was the first person I met. And the second person I met, which happened to me currently, like last weekend. Was it? No, it was the last weekend. It was the weekend before last weekend. No, it was last weekend. I think it was. And I didn't necessarily had a bad experience with this person. It was more of me, and I'm gonna get into that more in a little bit more detail. First of all, this person was about 2 decades older than me, and I usually, especially, now by the way, just to throw it out there, I've dated mostly women. Well, actually, I've dated all women all my life. Whatever, not dated. I've had sexual intercourse with women all my life. I never did it with a guy. I never let a guy do me. I never been a bottom. I've always been a top. Well, I don't want to say always been top because I never. This is really my first time because I'm now coming to terms with my own sexuality. Like I've accepted that I'm pretty much, at the very least, bi-curious to some extent because I am attracted to femboys. I am attracted to feminine presenting guys that look like girls, femboys basically. So I recently just come to that terms probably like this past November, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly okay with that. But I'm still, I can say 85 to maybe 90% still attracted to women, and I always knew that because I was like, how can you be trans in the future and still be attracted to women? Like that doesn't make sense because most people think, or if you're trans or if you're transitioning, then you're gonna be dating dudes, and that's not that's not me. I I know it's gonna be hard for me, as a trans person to date women because most women don't date trans people. But anyway, so yeah, I've been always attracted to women pretty much all my life. And since I just now recently discovered, and come to terms with my own sexuality and what I'm attracted to, I figured, you know, why not go ahead and experiment? Let's see if what it's like to be with a guy initially, no matter how feminine presumed they are. And I went on Grindr for that predominantly reason because let's be honest, femboys are like extremely hard to find femboys because you don't know that they're not you know. But anyway, so the second person I met, this person was like 40 some years old, and I was nervous because you don't know who you're meeting on these sites. You don't know what kind of person you're encountering, and hell, you don't even know anything about this person other than what they tell you on the internet, and you don't know if the pictures they're sending you are legit. That's why I try to be as authentic as possible. I may wear makeup or something like that. I may wear, or even sometimes filters, but most of the time I'm just wearing makeup, and it's very little makeup. I'm not even in full flash makeup. I just got eyeliner on, maybe lipstick, and maybe a choker. So I try to be as authentic as possible because I don't want to catfish anyone, and I don't want to be catfished in return. And I want to say that this person catfished me, even though you can kind of say that, you can kind of not say that, but I don't want to say this person catfished me. More like they send me more pictures of their bottom half than their top half. And well, actually, they didn't send me any pictures of their top half. It was from the waist below, and from the waist down, they had a nice body. I'm not gonna lie. So I was curious the whole time. Like, I wonder what this person looks like because okay, I see the bottom half of you, but what do your face look like? What do you look like in your features? Because that's what's really going to be the deal breaker for me, and it was. So we been interacting for a few weeks. We through text messages and stuff like that. And right off the gate, this person, wanted to have sex. And of course, I was down with it, but I wasn't because I'm like, I don't know anything about this person. And that kind of goes into my sex drive. I really don't have much of a sex drive. It's like, and I know this for a fact because there's been times where I've had sex with a girl or the girls in my past. And the first time, I'm fine. I I'm fine. But the going into the second time, I'm having complications. And just to briefly give you briefly give you an illustration. I was not in a relationship with this person, but I was in more of a sexual longevity relationship with this person. It lasted probably like 3 months, at that, I think. And we were having, not on a consistent basis, but we were having sex, every so often. And we had sex. I think we had sex like 3 times, maybe 4. Yeah, about 3 times. Yeah. But the second time, I was having complication. I was able to get an erection. And then I quickly, after that, started to deflate. So the third time we had sex, no, the third time, where we had sex 4 times. So the third time we had sex, I had to buy basically pills in order to keep an erection. You can get that from the corner store. And, they let you take them for 3-4 hours before you actually have intercourse, and you're going to last probably about 3-4 hours. So I had to do that. Okay. And the fourth time I had sex, I didn't buy any pill enhancements because it was just a out of the blue, wasn't planned, spontaneous moment where, we both had intercourse. And I was able to get it up, but going into, I probably like 5-6 minutes into it, and I started, going flat, and I couldn't get back up, and they let me know that I wasn't attracted to her like that. I just wanted, when I first met her, because I already knew of her. When I first said the sex part, or asked, it was because I was in lust. I was looking for just a quickie, because at that point, I hadn't had sex for like 3 4 years at that point. So that was the first time I had sex in like 3 4 years with somebody. So it was like I was in lust. You're in heat. You haven't had sex in a long time, and you're like, okay, I need to get this out of my system. And she was available, and she was willing to let me do that. So, and I told her before, we get into the sex part, that I didn't want any strings attached, but she got attached. So, yeah. So, fast forward. Currently, this person I met, and um, I met them. I drove out to their house, and I saw this. He about my height. He didn't have any hair on his head. He was bald headed, and he did tell me it was in the military, which kind of explained everything. But more importantly, the physical features weren't there. I immediately was like, yeah, I ain't finna do that. And we talked. I don't regret talking to him. He was a nice person, a little disturbed, no doubt, but ain't we all? And I met the person, we talked, we had a conversation, and then I went home. But the whole entire time, and I know this probably sounds like I'm shallow as fuck, but when I first saw him, and I'm like, this person, I'm trying to add the bottom photos to the top, and it just didn't add up. And I'm like, yeah, I don't see it. And no amount of makeup is gonna, decrease that illusion for me. So we had an honest conversation. We talked, he was fixing on a car that someone gave to him that he wanted to fix, and I learned a little bit about cars, so that was a bonus. So as it was getting dark, and my mom wanted me to come back home, which I think I was hoping, like, please text me, like, because I didn't want to just leave and be like, oh, I gotta go, because that's like kind of being a dick. So I stayed willingly, and on my own account. And the whole time I'm like, I'm not finna fuck this person. I hope they don't think that, which I'm pretty sure they did think that. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. I can't. I won't. I refuse. And the whole time I'm thinking to myself, how am I gonna tell this person I'm not attracted to them without hurting their feelings? Or in some cases, in my case, I thought without being killed, because I don't know how this person's gonna take it. I'm on their property. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm fucking about 3 miles away from home, and I got a fucking 35 to 40 minute ride back to the house on my bike. So how am I gonna fucking let this person down without hurting their feelings? And thankfully, my mom texted me. She's like, it's getting late. You need to come home. I'm like, I gotta go. So I left. I didn't just leave right after I, had the conversation. I told him it was nice meeting you and everything, and I left. So let's fast forward to a few days after. This person texts me, and they say, because they work on cars, right, and know how to work on bikes. So I figured, I have a dirt bike in my garage downstairs, and I've been trying to fix this for years, and with no success. So I told them about it, and then I texted them, because they texted me, and I texted them thank you and everything. It was nice meeting you and everything. And then that person texted me and was like, yeah, you supposed to be greeting me all the time, but you dropped the ball as usual. Because we have had, through text, before we actually physically face-to-face met, where we were talking, and this person was like, well, I want you to come over, and then I couldn't, and they'll text me like at 1 in the morning and say, can you come over and stuff. But I'm like, it's fucking 2 in the morning. I'm not gonna leave home. My house is locked down. I'm not gonna leave. So it was like failed attempt after failed attempt after failed attempt, and then we finally met, and it was like another failed attempt for them, at least. For me, it was a dodged bullet. And then he texts me a day after that text, because I didn't reply back. And then he texts me the next day after that. Actually, I took it back. I did reply back. I said, hello, you're funny. And and he didn't say anything back. And then the next day, the day after that, he texts me again. It's like 1, 2 in the morning. I'm in the bed because I don't really sleep that much. I go to sleep like at fucking 5 in the morning, and then wake up probably like 11, 12 in noon, whatever. So I saw the text through my notifications. I read it through the notifications. I didn't want to read it, go to the message and read it because I didn't want them to see, oh, he read it and he didn't fucking reply back. I didn't want to do that. So I just, pretend like I was asleep. And then I replied back a couple hours later when I woke up. The following couple hours later after, the sun rose and everything. And I said, simple, can't, busy today. And the text that he sent me to my response to that was, in the morning, can you come by and F me, basically. And I remember pretty much for pretty much the rest of that night, for a pretty short, long period of time, I was like, I had the jitters, and I just had this gross, nasty feeling that made me shiver, and it still makes me shiver even to this day. Just the thought of me possibly even having a sexual intercourse with this person, it just grosses me out. And it's not them, but it is them. It's more of me, because like I said, I have a very low sex drive. It doesn't take much for me. It doesn't take much for me to go from I'm ready to go to, you know what, I'm straight. And not straight sexualized, but like, I'm good. I'm fine. I can't do this. And, I have a tendency of doing that. And part of me think it's a bad habit. Well, not a bad habit. Part of me think it's potentially a problem. But at the same time, it's like, I can't just fathom myself to do that. So after that, I started thinking to like, even the night when I got back home that night, I just had this gross, nasty feeling like, what if you did, have sex with that person? And I'm gonna be real, I probably would have, first of all, I would have put myself in a depressing state. And it doesn't take much for me to get depressed because I am diagnosed with clinical depression. My doctor diagnosed me with that when I fucking was 20, 19, 20, 21. I think I was 21. Yeah, I was 21. My doctor diagnosed me with that. And, for years I never knew I had depression. I just thought, this was just how people feel. But come to find out, I was not like everyone else. I suffer from depression. And it doesn't take much for me to get depressed. I could be looking at YouTube videos and see something on YouTube, and then in an instant I get depressed, and I have to like manage it. So, and for number one, depression doesn't go away. It's something that always sticks with you. Is that you just have to learn how to manage it and learn how to deal with it and live with it and cope with it for the rest of your life. I know that I'm not going to get rid of my depression because it doesn't take much to trigger my depression. So I just know how to manage it better than I did before I even knew what depression was. So I thought to myself, I'm like, if you did have sex with that person, how would you felt after? And I would have felt grossed, I would have felt disgusted, and I would have felt violated. And I probably would have killed myself. No doubt about it. The thought of it, just made me feel icky and disgusting. And I'm like, I don't think I would have been able to live myself if I did that. And I know that sounds crazy. People always say, oh, I would kill myself if I ever had sex with you. And some people may be over-exaggerating, but I don't think I'm over-exaggerating, because I honestly did look myself in the mirror and said, if you did do that and you came home, what would you have done? And I would have felt extremely, I'm sorry, my fucking camera did that. I would have felt extremely, extremely depressed. And I probably would have killed myself. Or at least been on the verge of killing myself, to the point where I probably have to go back to Lakeside. And I don't want to do that. So My experience, I'm gonna end this video. My experience on Grindr was not necessarily, wasn't the best. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best. And there's more things about Grindr that, you know, that happened. I'm just not gonna talk about it in this video because it's too long. I could probably make a part 2 series of that. But this is it. As far, I deleted the app. I deleted my account. I deleted the app, and honestly, I feel cleansed, you know, after I did that. So I just don't want to do that. And hopefully this person does not text me back and they kind of like get the message and say, okay, this person does not want, his person is fucking playing around. But if they want to be friends, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly okay with being friends. It's just that I can't have sex with this person because I don't really enjoy sex as much as I like to, because it's too much of a hassle for me to have sex. And then if I have sex with someone that I am not actually attracted to, and I'm doing it for more of their benefit versus actually my benefit, I feel like I'd be violated. So I can't do it. Hopefully I don't have to explain it to this person. Hopefully they kind of like drift off into the sunset and I can go live my life and they live their life. So far they have not texted me back, and it's been, that was earlier this week. Here it is, fucking Friday. And they haven't texted me so far. Hopefully it stays like that, and hopefully they just drift off into the distance, because I don't plan on making any effort of texting them anytime soon, or any at all for any matter. So that was my experience on Grindr. Please comment in the comment section what if you have been on Grindr, or if you've been on a website like it, or a dating website, or a hookup website, period. Let me know what your experience was. Was it good? Was it bad? And if I'm over being over dramatic about this whole situation, or if I'm wrong for what I did, please let me know in the comment section. But anyway, I am going to end this video. Thank you so much. Bye bye.